Welcome, everybody, to this edition of Trowel Time, coming to you from our campus in Alma, Michigan. It's great to have you with us, and as always, it's great to have Brother Bill Finkel. Bill's our Grand Secretary. Welcome, Bill. Glad to have you.
Good to be here, Bob.
Good. And Tom Braun, our Grand Lecturer, is with us. Tom, it's good to have you.
Great to be here today.
You bet. Thank you. And a friend of yours is with us. We have an audience today, so Cheryl's back there, and we're very, very happy that you're here.
Cheering us on.
Yeah. As always, our producer behind the camera is Ben Tigner. There's a smattering of applause there. And our coordinator and the guy who keeps us in touch with everything that's going on, Darren Thompson from the Grand Lodge office. So thank you for being here, Darren.
All right, Darren.
And Ben, both of you. So if it's great. This is being filmed just before some of us are heading off to the festivities in Alexandria, Virginia. It's the 100th anniversary of the laying of the cornerstone of the George Washington National Masonic Memorial. And of course, I was on that board for several years. And so we're going out there and enjoy that. The Conference of Grand Masters is being held there and then as well as in Arlington, Virginia. So it's going to be fun. There's a whole group of Masons that are going out, and we're not sure. I was talking to people today trying to figure out who all was coming. We don't know. But I know there's a group from Ann Arbor that's going. There's some others, just kind of independents, that are heading out that way. So hopefully we'll have a good turnout.
Be a good crowd, yeah.
Grand Master obviously will be there. Deputies going. Both Grand Wardens are going, and Bill's going for the Conference of Grand Secretaries that's always held in conjunction with the conference. And but it's going to be a lot of fun. We're looking forward to it. So
it used to be the Conference of Grand Secretaries.
That's where it started, but it actually started because of the memorial, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. We started it, the George Washington Memorial, because we needed money. And things went downhill from there.
That hasn't changed it.
No, it hasn't changed a bit, actually. But in any case, today is a beautiful day, and we're looking forward to getting out there and seeing some old friends and making some new ones. And we hope that you're coming out there, too. And if you don't, we'll give you an update next month when we do our March program, all right? So, Brother Bill.
Yes, sir.
What are the deadlines coming up in March that we need to be thinking about?
The important one, March 1st, the 990s, the financial reports for every lodge is supposed to be in by March 1st. We're not doing too good. We have about 137 to come in the next 14 days.
Yeah.
It's going to be a push. But I know secretaries are working hard. They work with the treasurer, getting on the financial details, and sometimes they're not available. If any lodge that has a CPA doing their accounting for them, they've got to get the information from them before they can fill out the 990. And
So, secretaries, if you are having any problems, even if you're just slow and it's taking you some time to do it, shoot Darren or Karen Wolfgang a note and let them know that you're on it, you're working towards it, you're going to get it done. But if you do need help, for heaven's sakes, ask. Jeez, there's a lot of help up here for that, and it's not as daunting as it might appear.
In my last email to the secretaries, I published their numbers, 989-466-3087 for Darren and 3086 for Karen. So.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right.
March 20th is got to pay the per capita by March 20th.
Yeah. So.
And we're way behind on that, but we have an extra 20 days to get the money in. So
there's always a little lag time to get that in, but anything that you can do certainly helps us with that. Remember, the Grand Lodge of Michigan exists on one source of revenue, and that's the per capita. The rest of it all comes out of our reserve fund and its gains. And as all of you know, the markets haven't necessarily been kind to us. So every dime that you can get in just as quick as you can, we certainly appreciate that very much.
Yeah.
Lodge charity account.
Large charity account. Every lodge is allowed to is given $2,400 from the foundation for charitable usage. But that for this year expires March 31st, and there are no carryovers. So if they haven't used it by March 31st, then they'll get next year's, but then what they would have got for this year will be gone. So there's $2,400 they can help people out with, and it should be used. So.
Yeah, don't use it stupidly, but
No,
there are
no.
a lot of groups in your community that could be benefited by it. Might be a brother, a widow, might need maybe some maintenance or something at her house or something along those lines. That's certainly what that fund is there for. So we want you to use it, and we want you to do it right. And if you do use it for charitable purposes, we certainly want to see what you're doing with that, and let us use that to really build up how we can kind of magnify the use of those funds to make sure the community knows the fraternity better.
About 80% of lodges are doing it, which is
great.
good. It is great.
That's great.
Absolutely.
All right.
And that $2,400 can grow through donations to the foundation in the name of your lodge charity account. So you give to the foundation, make sure it's designated to your lodge charity account, and then your draw will increase and that number will stay.
And you'll get the tax deduction for giving it.
Right.
Yeah. So
some lodges are
win-win.
over $4,000 and $5,000 every year.
Yeah, just from putting those
Go down.
investments into that fund. That's great. So you want more information on that, contact our foundation, Kelly Thompson. Amanda, Christina, Teresa do a great job. They'll be happy to answer all your questions for you. And certainly you can contact anybody up here and we'll get you to the right people too. So,
I tried to contact them one time, and I looked up MMCF. I got the Mid-Michigan Correctional Facility, so be careful what you look for.
We used to get a lot of calls for the Ionia facility, so I think that's what it was, but good. So how about lodges? Should their dues all be in by now for the lodges, Bill?
Well, the Blue Book says if they're not paid by December 31st, they're late.
Okay.
So they should be in.
So if they're not.
It's kind of funny because secretaries and I have a parallel path here, because they're getting upset because I'm not getting dues. I'm getting upset because I'm not getting 990s, So I want them to think about me when they're
It's everybody. Yeah, if we just all do what we're supposed to do, then nobody gets upset, and it's a good world.
Yeah.
All right, well, good. Folks, we're going to take a break. We'll be back with Tom Braun in just a moment.
Have you always wanted to create a will but not sure where to begin? We will make it easy for you to create a legally valid will in 20 minutes or less. The best part, it's completely free. Go to our website to look through our plan giving options. You can choose to leave a gift to MMCF, the Michigan Masonic Home, or your lodge or chapter's charity account, changing lives for future generations. This service is free whether you choose to leave a gift or not. Don't delay. Start your legacy today.
And we're back. Thank you for joining us. And now we're going to talk with Tom Braun, our grand lecturer. Tom, I know that there are some lodges of instruction that are coming up. Who's supposed to attend those?
The lodges of instruction are really for the wardens and the deacons.
Okay.
The master of the lodge has a responsibility to get his officers to those lodges of instruction.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the stations that we want to concentrate on, because those brothers will be the leaders in their lodges in the years to come.
Sure. Can anybody attend though?
Anybody can attend, as long as they're depending on what the lodge, if it's a fellow crafter, entered apprentice or master mason, but any
of the officers could come.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. What about if they're, one of the really good ways that you can stay in touch with what's happening in the Masonic fraternity in Michigan is by getting the weekly e-news, right?
Oh, absolutely.
All of us get it. We spend a lot of time making sure that it's up to date and it's current. Every Monday that goes out. Every single Monday. I can't think of the last one that we missed, but it was years ago when that might have happened. Probably when I was doing it, right? But if they're not, Tom, how do they sign up for the weekly e-news?
They have to get onto the Grand Lodge website and request getting onto the weekly news. We want to make sure that their profile is up to date, so we're using the correct email address. And if they're not getting it, call the Grand Lodge office. There's so many people up here that'll help them.
Okay. They could also go through OLP. Can they use that app, Darren, to kind of get some information? Make sure they're up to date anyway.
They can update their profile through OLP. To sign up for the weekly e-news, I'd get a hold of myself or Paige Dean. Call the office. The 800 number is right there on your screen. And also on the Grand Lodge website, if you go to michiganmasons.org and click on news, there's actually a sign up form right there.
Okay, so a lot of ways you can get hooked up. Make sure that you get that.
And that's a question that should be asked by the DDIs and the regionals, and even the BGPs when they go to lodge. How many of you are getting the weekly news?
And if you don't, check your spam filters, because it's all the way it's formatted and sent. A lot of filters will send it straight to junk. So if you just flag it as not junk, and it's from a trusted source, so you don't need to worry about that. You'll make sure and get it. I've had a lot of those that end up in my other or junk folders, and I don't want them to, so I just flag them and they come back into my normal email box.
Also, if you're following our Facebook and Twitter pages, I'll post a link on there on our weekly e-news.
Okay. Yeah. Good to know. And if you're not following, you should.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So, really, when you think about it, folks, you're getting the Cornerstone magazine every quarter. And that goes to every Mason, every widow in the state. And that has articles of big kind of regional impact and news. Every Monday, you get the e-news. Every day, you get Facebook and Twitter feeds. And every month that the Cornerstone magazine isn't mailed to you, you get a postcard. I just got one today for our upcoming leadership class on the 17th. Yeah.
Okay, great.
So, we're really making every effort that we can to communicate with you. And we only ask one thing of you, that you read it. That's it. That's all you have to do is just read it, take a look at it, make sure that you're staying in touch with us, and let us know how we're doing. And if you think we could do it better, we'd love to hear that.
Yeah.
So take that opportunity. Having said that, I know that we got some Prince Hall Grand Lodge and Grand Lodge of Michigan degrees that are coming up. Why don't you give us a little update on that, Tom?
Well, we completed the Erin Apprentice degree on the 4th at Detroit Temple. Well attended. We had 45 brothers that joined the craft.
And got their entered apprentice
And
degree,
got their
though.
entered apprentice
Okay,
degree.
so now they go on to the next if they so choose or whatever.
The Fellowcraft degree will be held on March 4th at the Temple in Grand Rapids on Fulton Street.
Mm-hmm.
And the Grand Lodge of Michigan will confer the Fellowcraft degree, and the Grand Lodge officers from Prince Hall will do the middle chamber, the charge, and the lectures.
I'd
So
love
we're
to be
looking forward
there.
to seeing that. It's going to be.
I'd love to be there. I can't.
You
but-
can't?
but- no, I can't.
No, you
But,
can.
and Darren will tell you why in just a minute.
Yeah.
But
So if you have
I wish I could.
any candidates for the Fellowcraft degree out there, call the Grand Lodge office,
Great
get
way to
them
do it.
registered,
yeah,
and bring them to Grand Rapids. We'd love to have you.
it's a great way to do it.
With
Great
a mentor,
experience, right?
You need a mentor.
Yeah.
The candidate has to have a Bible, an apron, and a square and compass, which are all available from the Grand Lodge office as a kit, or you can get whatever you need. So simply register them and get the information as far as their needs for that kit from the Grand Lodge office.
That's great.
The other thing I'd like to mention is at this point in time, this month and next month, we're having the triannual elections for BGP and DDIs. So, brothers, there are districts out there without representation. So stop, think about your history as a Mason. Step up and represent your district as a BGP or a DDI. Lead by example. We'd love to have you. Thanks.
Yeah, I started a long time ago, 1988, 89, somewhere in there. I was district deputy instructor. And then I went to Board of General Purposes rep, and the rest, as they say, is history. Yeah, yeah. So I've been all of it, enjoyed every minute of it. I don't think I was ever quite as impactful locally as when I was district deputy instructor and Board of General Purposes. That was in the old districts a long time ago. It was Bering County and Cass. And
How many lodges did you have?
I had 18.
18 lodges.
I had 18.
Right.
18 lodges.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
today, I think the average is 6.
Six.
Today.
Yeah.
You had 18.
I had
God bless
18.
you.
Yeah. And I have to say I loved every minute of it. It was good, great experience for me. All right. That's good. We're going to take one more break, and we'll be right back.
Every day we make choices. Choices to help ourselves, choices that help those around us. When it's time to make a choice about your senior living options, consider Masonic Pathways. We offer choices for entertainment, socialization, and most importantly, choices that make life easier for you. When it's time to discuss choices in your life, make Masonic Pathways your first choice and contact our care team today.
And thank you for coming back and joining us again. So, we're always wondering what Brother Finkel is going to come up with for our trivia. He did run this past me. I've decided to let him go with it. And so, Brother Finkel, hit us with our Masonic trivia.
Okay, Masonic
for this
trivia.
month.
In 1964, Shakespeare Lodge number 750 of New York sponsored Miss Zelda Supley to a couple's social event as their guest speaker. Miss Supley was known as the First Lady of Nudism, and her presentation was titled Nudism and Mental Health. Lodge records indicate that attendance exceeded all expectations, and there was no mention made of the evening dress code.
I'm sure all the Masons wore their bow ties and lapel pins. I have no doubt. And aprons were very abundant, I'm sure. All right. Good. So once again, you've excelled with the Masonic trivia. Thank you, Bill. We've got a lot of upcoming stuff that's in the hopper for us, so we're going to send it over to Darren Thompson. Darren, what kind of things we got coming up in the future here?
So some upcoming events we have. The first one is the testimonial roast of Grand Master Rod Anderson from Prince Hall. That is going to be Saturday, February 25th at the Sheridan Metro Airport Hotel. There's information on our Grand Lodge calendar with a flyer posted there with information on how to get tickets. All of us, everybody is invited to come. Should be a great night. We've got the Spring Leadership Series with Bob Conley and his Outward Mindset classes that are coming up. Those are scheduled for March 4th in Detroit, March 11th in Alpena, April 1st in Marquette, April 15th here in Elma, and April 22nd in Jackson. There's information and links to sign up. I think are doing very well. Detroit might be full.
Detroit's full. I know that. Alpena is getting close, if it hasn't already gotten full.
Detroit's full after you increased?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
yeah,
great.
Very
That's
grateful
great.
for that. Yeah.
There's links to sign up in the Grand Lodge calendar and the e-news that we talked about. And just call the office if you need assistance to get signed up for those. And then March 17th, St. Patrick's Day here in Elma, we have the Lodge Leadership Day. All Lodge leaders, officers, and aspiring officers are welcome to come. We're going to have a lot of great speakers from the Charitable Foundation, Outreach and Member Care, the Grand Lodge office, our marketing team. You might see some familiar faces talking about different things. So everybody's welcome to come out to that, and postcards just went out as we said.
And that day is kind of a lodge leaders, so the master, warden, secretary, treasurer, so forth, to really understand better the assets that are available to you through the Grand Lodge office. So the thing, and all of the services that we offer up here, so not just Grand Lodge, but foundation and member care. It really is to get you very closely aligned with the opportunities that all of these departments have up here for you as lodges in the state. So it's not a leadership training day. It is a leaders understanding day. You're going to get a lot of information about social media and how to do it. You're going to get programs about the lodge charity accounts and ways that you can really maximize those things. You're going to get information about member care department, how it can impact your membership. So it's just going to be a tremendous day, but it really is a little bit different focus. We want you to make sure that you have a much higher level of knowledge about the programs and opportunities that the fraternity leadership provides for you guys in your lodges right now. That's what we want to do on that day. So it's going to be a great day. Looking very forward to it.
Right, and there is a cost to attend that to cover meals and things, but if you bring master, the secretary, at least one warden, and at least one deacon, that will be fully refunded to the lodge. And if you bring more than that, they will also.
And there is no cost to attend those other classes, right?
Right.
They just have to register for it.
Right.
Yeah. If you don't register, you can't come because we won't have food for you. Good. Excellent.
And I do have one other event coming up that I told Chris Sova. I would shout out to our brothers in Bay City. I would put out here. They are participating once again in the Bay City St. Patrick's Day Parade. They're inviting all Masons, all appendant bodies, friends and family to join them. They had a great turnout last year, and they're going to do it again. So Sunday, the 19th at 2 o'clock, they're going to meet at the Scottish Rite Building, and they'll have shuttles to take people over to the start. And then once the parade is over, they're going to have fellowship at the Lodge Building on John Street. We've got information on that in the calendar, and it'll be in the next couple of e-news.
Yeah, a lot of fun. That'll be fun. Maybe they'll have the Cornwallis chair moved over. Yes, the chair that General Cornwallis surrendered the British Army to George Washington. The chair that he sat in when he did that is owned by the old Winona Lodge, now Joppa Winona. And I found this in an old book of Masonic, Did You Know, I think is the title of that book, and put it into a trestle board that I make for one of the lodges. And it said that so this was written in 1952, but it's kind of like the old Ripley's Believe It or Not thing. And this chair is owned, and it said owned by Winona Lodge, Bay City, Michigan. And I thought, well, what the heck? So I happened to be talking with Ryan Balash, who's the past master now of Joppa Lodge. And he said, oh, yeah. He said, it's in the Bay City Scottish Rite Cathedral. And I said, well, it's yours. And he said, I know. Winona is consolidated into Joppa now. That's complete. And they own that chair. And I think that they're going to move it over to the building on John Street.
Wow.
So, yeah, what a piece of history, huh? That tiny little lodge in Bay City. I have no idea how they got it, but there it is.
How they got their hands on that.
Yeah. It may have just been an old chair that somebody just wrote. I don't know. Could have been. Who knows? But there is some provenance to it, and it has been in the Bay City Cathedral all these years. I had no idea. So there you go. Great. All right. Q&A, questions and answers. Darren Thompson, take it away.
All right, so our mailbag once again runneth over. Thank you for sending those in. We've got several this month. Keep them coming. Send them to dthompson@grandlodgemi.org. You may have your question answered on the air. So, let's get to it. The first question comes from Charles Garrow from Clam Lake Lodge in Cadillac. He wants to know, is there a certain length the cable tow should be, or are there different lengths for different degrees for the cable tow?
The length of the cable tow should be comfortable for the candidate. In the entered apprentice degree, the loop should be big enough to go around his shoulders and his neck. You don't want it too tight. Because I've been in a few lodges where that's been the case. They struggle to get it off. And in the fellowcraft degree, it should be long enough to go around the right arm twice. And the Master Mason degree, it should only be long enough to go around 3 times. And the knot on how it's tied should be in the back of the candidate, so it's easy for the senior deacon to remove it.
Okay, so basically there is no required length.
No.
I would refer everybody to some Masonic history books to really discover what that is intending to say is the length of a cable tow. As you're an apprentice, I've seen them where they're 40 feet long.
Oh, yeah.
It took an hour and a half to get out of the
Yeah.
darn thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So that's good. All right. All right.
Next question comes from Daniel Burgess of Saline Lodge number 133. He wants to know, does the Grand Lodge permit or does it explicitly prohibit Michigan Masons to wear the Lewis jewel? There's a Lewis jewel, and then they have the Yorkite has a Lewis pin and a different jewel.
The Lewis jewel I've seen in lodge many times, and I've never seen anyone not be able to wear that in the lodge.
I think unless it's specifically excluded,
Right.
it's implicitly allowed.
That's correct. I agree.
That's the one
Well,
on the left.
Right here on my right. Yeah. And the Heritage Award, if you're interested in that, is given out by the Yorkite. You can access their website. It's grandchaptermi.org, and you can get information on the heritage or fill out an application to receive one for you and your family.
I would say there's nothing in the Blue Book that prohibits wearing of this jewel.
Right.
But check lodge bylaws, just in case it's mentioned in there somewhere. There's nothing in the Blue Book that prohibits it.
No,
A good point.
but again, in Michigan, a Lewis isn't considered the same way that it is elsewhere in the world. You know, a Lewis is the son of a master mason. That's what a Lewis is, right? So if you're wearing the jewel in a lodge, it means you're also a master mason. So
Yeah.
you know, it's not the same thing. A Lewis is an instrument that's used to lift a stone, to assist in lifting that stone. Well, that's kind of the symbolism of it in masonry. But Michigan doesn't. We don't have that jewel. So if you're wearing it, it doesn't have the same meaning here that it might in Ontario. I believe wears them. They have that program, and then certainly I'm not aware of it, but I believe that it's also available in the UK. So.
Okay. Next question. Are lodge officers covered under directors and officers liability insurance? That comes from Gary Beaucamp of Farmington 151.
So every lodge has liability coverage provided through the Grand Lodge, but you have to remember what the context of a lodge is. Most of us, when we hear the word lodge, we think of a building, a lodge, right? A lodge of Masons. That's not the context. The lodge is membership. So the members of a Masonic lodge, when open or in activities that are part of that Masonic experience, could be a parade, could be a degree night, could be just lodges open and something happens. As far as liability is concerned, everybody has liability. The lodge, meaning its membership, in that lodge has liability coverage. So to that extent, you have coverage. A lodge does not have directors. And its officers are covered because they're members of the lodge. So the men inside the lodge are covered under our liability coverage. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
Okay. The next one we've got from Mark Rogers of Pierre Marquette 299. And he wants to know, when asking a candidate, is it of your own free will and accord? Why should the response be it is and not just yes?
It's part of the ritual. The ritual says, "Is it of your own free will and accord?" And through the lectures, you were asked, and it will cover that. You were asked, "Is it of your own free will and accord?" That's part of the ritual, and that's what we teach.
But if they said yes,
If you
would you
said
tell
yes,
them?
it would affirm that
Yeah,
you do agree with it.
Yeah, so
but it is the correct response.
I've heard everything conceivable as
Yeah.
an answer to that, and I don't think it's ever been horribly wrong. So as long as they
long as it's
affirm it, I think
in the
that's
affirmative.
acceptable. Exactly. Yes, in the affirmative. Yes.
Another ritual question here comes to us from Roy Prince. He's the worshipful master of Northwood Ancient Craft 551 and also our DDI for that area. He wants to know, can an interpreter be used in the degree work if the candidate does not speak English? Can the obligation be given in the candidate's native language or another language other than English?
I would say that if the lodge accepts this brother into Masonry to receive his Masonic degree, and he does not speak English, and they have an interpreter who is a Mason, I would say there's no reason we couldn't bring him in.
Yeah, I think that kind of goes with what I was thinking when I was looking at that question. It's the lodge has to be assured that he is answering appropriately, and that
Right.
Now I think if it's the Spanish language, I can pick up enough of that to say that he understands what we're saying and so forth. If it's some obscure language, I don't know that I could. But I remember that we've had men who were deaf that have joined, and we did that with the assistance of somebody who can sign.
That's correct.
So I don't see that this would be terribly different from that. But again, to your point, Tom, I think that it's absolutely mandatory that the lodge understands what they're doing.
Absolutely.
And how that's going to be transferred to that brother. Certainly becomes, your work is going to have to be really good.
It is.
To do that well. So yeah. But I don't think that there's no exclusion to it that I can think of.
I couldn't think of any.
No. Okay.
And it would not be a mailbag without a question from our buddy Royce Myers.
Hey, Roy.
Royce, my friend, all right.
South Haven. He got in just under the wire today and wants to know which point is above the square on the altar for the fellowcraft degree.
It doesn't really matter as long as one is elevated and one is hidden.
There you go. He's not going to like that. Royce is a black and white kind of guy. And the gray thing you just gave him, that's just going to throw him
Well,
over
then
the
he
pieces.
should talk to his master and ask the worshipful master of that lodge
Which one he wants. Yeah.
how that master would like it square and compass arranged.
Yeah.
And that's what he should look at.
Yeah. It's the master, right? It's the
That's
master's
absolutely
ambiguity always goes to the master.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
I love that.
So that is our mailbag for the month of February.
All right. One final break, and we'll be right back with our closing remarks.
Are you looking for the latest Masonic apparel, materials, and literature from the craft? Look no more. At MichiganMasonicStore.com, you can find everything from hats and shirts to tumblers, blankets, and books. Our shirts come in a range of sizes and with logos and branding custom stitched for the Michigan Masons. Don't wait. Visit MichiganMasonicStore.com now.
Well, thanks for everybody for joining us for this edition of Trowel Time. We'll be back to you in March with an update on the festivities and hopefully some nice photographs of our participation in the parade and so forth out at the George Washington National Masonic Memorial and the Cornerstone laying and just a lot of good stuff coming up. Go to Lodge. You'll be benefited because you do. We've all been actively going to Lodge. We visited a few this month and had a great time at all of them. So go to Lodge and get back in touch with your brothers and make some new friends and say hi to some old ones. And we'll see you back here next time on Trowel Time. Thanks, everybody.